But dueling hasn't completely disappeared. In the land where some people say that duel originated, in Austria and Germany, there is a form still alive today. It's a fraternity initiation rite known as the Mensur. The Mensur traces its roots back to the 18th century, when the common dueling sword was causing numerous deaths to young students from bloody puncture wounds to the chest.
You see on early pictures, you often see, when it was thrusting, fencing with thrusting, you often can see students who have the left hand on their mouth. That's why, because if they were hurt, you don't have any receptors of pain in that district. So in the duel, you don't know how deep the wound is and how deep you are hurt. And they try to find out if there is coming some blood, a bloody foam there. And if it did, they knew I'm going to die very, very soon.
In order to decrease fatalities, but maintain the code of honor dueling supported, proponents of the Mensur promoted a style that used a less deadly slashing and cutting sword called a Schlager. They also limited foot movement to a steadfast standstill that some believe originated in the rigid and disciplined requirements of the 18th century's square fighting technique.
If you look at how, for example, infantry operated in the Napoleonic Wars, in the carré and the square, you will see that the behavior of these, even the common soldiers, they ridiculed each other when there was a cannonball coming, flying straight ahead, just whizzing by their ears, and they dodged. There would be, people would laugh at them. Their own comrades at arms would laugh at them, because the requirements of the square meant it's a mass of people that has to operate very organized, in a very organized fashion. To be effective, you can't have people dodging left and right.
The outcome of this dueling technique was essentially a test of bravery performed not to resolve a dispute, but to prove that a man had the courage to stand firm under pressure and endure injuries. Scars that became emblems of superior class status and masculinity.
And they also symbolize potency, right? And that a very masculine quality, and that the bearer of the scar would be a good provider, right? Because he was a potent man. And women thought they were wonderful. They thought, by all accounts, they would go into half swoons when they would see a real jagged Schmiss, is what the Germans called it, adorning a young man's face.
Today, in university towns like Göttingen, Germany, the past and present of the Mensur are alive. In recently uncovered portions of an administration building, the university has discovered a remarkable record of 18th and 19th century life in a group of student prison cells.
Yeah, sometimes the people who come in here were people who have fight forbidden mensurs, and so the university puts the people in here because they are seen by fighting forbidden duels or forbidden mensurs. And you can see that most of the people who have sit in here have fight mensurs too.
On the walls, you can see graffiti left behind by the students, representations of their Mensur duels, of the Schlager, and their fraternity shields. For visiting students, it's a connection to former members of their fraternities. And for some visitors, it's even a connection to family members.
Yeah, you see this name called Jahren, it's my name too, and when I come in first time in the Karza, I found a couple of signs with my name, and so I looked in old archives in this university and found out that my grandpa, Ernst Jahren, who studied here medicine in 1910, has sitting in here in quite this room for 5 times. I know also he fences a couple of Mensuren, and it was very funny for me to find my own grandpa on the wall. My grandma is living, and I told her that I found her husband, and she was not amused that I can find out that my grandpa is sitting in here.
Fertig, los!
But the Mincer is not just a thing of the past in Göttingen. In fraternity houses like this one, students are still using the Mincer as a demonstration of comradeship, a tool to cultivate courage, and an initiation rite. One of the country's best-known fight masters is Pit Pieper. He received his scar in an early Mincer duel.
The first years I had problems with it because it was a bit difficult, more difficult for me to laugh, for example, and in winter it was was hurting a bit. But now, you know, if you see it for some years, it belongs to me, it's a part of me.
There are about 20 men who live in this fraternity house. They come from all over Germany, and each will live here for about 2 years. And if all goes well, successfully perform 4 Mincer duels. They have varying religious backgrounds and political beliefs, but all of them shared a common interest in joining a dueling fraternity.
First, because of all the nice guys I met here, and secondly, probably because my father joined the fraternity 50 years ago, so it's quite a kind of tradition in our family, and because it's a very different way of spending the student's life.
I'd like to call it a kinship of choice that you enter into. Goethe has this term Wahlverwandtschaft. It's much closer than your friends from school. This is something that is really lasts a lifetime.
And it shows that I can stand a situation of extremes, and it feels incredibly comfortable and incredibly relieving afterwards. It's just a great feeling. It's like some people do extreme sports or something. I think it's in the feeling afterwards probably the same.
The duel itself is a highly ritualized fight. The 2 combatants are equally matched and well protected except on their heads and cheeks. The duelists come from different fraternities and may or may not know each other. They fight in rounds of between 4 and 8 strokes, as many as 40 rounds to a duel. Huge emphasis is put on standing perfectly still while giving and receiving blows. The actual encounter is a combination of terror and exhilaration.
Ansonsten Silenzium für eine so annoncierte Partie.
Your mouth is dry, your stomach is weak, your throat just goes up and down. And this opponent is looking at you, you just see the eyes flickering. And suddenly you have a blade in your hand and your arm gets thrown up. You hear the loose, the go command there. You can't show emotion. You can't show reflexes. You have to keep yourself under control. Then you get hit, you see. It's just like a very icy feeling. You feel cold blood run down your face, and it's over, as quickly as you can think. And you're so glad that everything is over at the end, that your opponent suddenly is your best friend.
Actual duels are rarely, if ever, viewed by the public. Many of these fraternities are still secretive and concerned about public criticism. But we were able to see some of the preparation for one fraternity member's Mincer. And the next morning, we asked him how it went.
We started, and first thing I thought was, what am I doing here? It's 20th century, but after a few seconds, I was concentrated and it was okay. And the other guy, he moved his head a little bit, like that, and it's not allowed. He showed his fear. I was feared too, but I didn't show it. And he showed it to his people, and his people stopped the whole thing, took him out, and he has to try another time.
And now where is this fraternity brother off to?
I'm going to visit my mother, because she wants to see me, if I'm all right. She was nervous, and next time I'm not going to tell her.
Will the Mincer continue, or will it fade away and disappear as the last gasp of an outdated dueling custom, all unknown. But it's clear that codes of behavior that encourage fraternity, promote honor, and resolve disputes are still important today. Some even suggest that the dueling tradition may have advantages over the modern justice system.
If it's well organized, if it's done honestly, very often, this is amazing, after the duel, they make up. When you see two parties in court, very often, both of them are not satisfied after the court case is over. They don't even shake hands. And this is a beautiful cleansing thing of a duel. People don't agree on, they do not agree on something. They have a duel, what happens? Afterwards they make up. They embrace each other and say, it's over now. We have it out. We had it out, and this is a big difference between a duel and a court case. The duel can clean. The court case very often doesn't.
Some people suggest that maybe, tabloids would be more careful if people had to defend their words with blood. And a friend of mine who works for the court system, the federal court system, actually found a case for me where I believe it was a federal judge, at one point in a case suggested that the two lawyers really that their actions were leading him to wish that the duel could be reinstated, and that they would act more civil in court if they really had to go out and defend themselves against each other's outrages.
Courage, honor, justice, fraternity, the keys to dueling and Western civilization's code of honor. It was the standard for controlling aggression, for resolving disputes, for defining position, and sharing camaraderie. It defined and dominated the lives of men of honor over 1,500 years of deadly duels.